All right, for our final part in tonight's series, I'm going to briefly touch on SPY. In the very first part of tonight's series, I walked through and marked up this entire chart, show you how I did it, how I determined A, B, C, all the numbers, all the levels. So I just want to show you where we're going with this. So 56 hours, let's actually knock that down to half hours. We are time restricted on SPY. It's been following the index as it does. Looks like wave 1 was 206 half hours, and then wave 3 was only 104 half hours. So when wave 5 begins, it is limited to 104 half hours in length. Our levels of agreement, we've got, looks like we have to make it to at least 553, which is one of our levels of agreement. Then we start to move up to another level at 558, 561. I believe for this one I was targeting around 556. Stretch it. So 556 is pretty close to where we're already at. So I'm not expecting too much more movement for the index or for SPY from its previous high that occurred at the open on Monday, April 28th. As far as where is it going to go, so let me drag my chart back in here as I've been doing. My wave 3 retracements, I like the level at 554, and then we have in here anywhere between 553 and 559 is that 556 from our wave 3 extensions. So our summary, I'm projecting to top around 556. After that, we are required to finish within 104 half hours. If the market tops early on 30 April, we're looking at a max bottom. The bottom basically has to be in by 12 May, early in the trading session. The minimum drop once we go into that fifth wave is to where wave 3 ended. In this case, wave 3 ended down here around 481.80. And most likely SPY and the index will continue to drop below that. So we've got the next level at 114%. Movement extension is at 468, and our next one is the 123%, and that's down at 459. Bringing the chart back, if we do go to that, at least that minimum movement from top to bottom, we're looking at a 13% drop. If we hit that next level, we're looking at a 15% drop top to bottom. And lastly, my current target, seeing as how most things look like they're lining up to drop around 20%, a 17% drop is possible. That would put our low for SPY around 459, which would be just under a 100-point drop from the projected top of 556. Our next symbol will be Taiwan Semi, or TSM. So we'll zoom out real quick, see the lay of the land. Okay, so it started with a top back on 24 January, so slightly ahead of the market. Wave 1 was quite long at 215 trading hours, and then wave 3 was only 69 trading hours, and that we'll have to break that out into half hours again. That is 127 half hours. So that means when wave 5 begins, we're looking at a length of no greater than 127 half hours. Let's see, Taiwan semis, so A was probably around 9 April. Let's mark up some A and B here. So A, our low is over here. And then C is wherever 4 decides to end. All right, as far as our levels, I am looking at a target where wave 3, wave C, and wave 5 of C all agree. We are going at least above 165.91. So today we closed at 163.24. Our first level of agreement is just north of 169. Looks like 169, 170, 171. We have our first cluster here. And then we don't really cluster after that. There is 2 of them agree at 150% movement at 173. That's pretty unique to see. And then after that, you have another one at 175, 176. So from a conservative top standpoint, I'm looking at a top more around the 170 mark. So that would be this first cluster that we have here, 169, 170, 171. So I'm going to go with 170 as my target. And again, it should happen probably within the next day and a half. I believe I placed it here. Yep, about 11:30 on 30 April. So from that point, so if 4 tops right about there, wave 5 needs to finish no later than 14 May. So if most of the market is set to finish before that, Monday, Tuesday, we could be looking at a down week next week, or we could have the bottom finally set in on that following Monday, because most of these have to finish by 12 May. So if everything's trading together, we're looking at a bottom fairly quickly. So what's been very unique about taking all these symbols together is you kind of get to see where the mandatory movers have to be. So the folks that have to reach their bottom in a set time frame, and when those time frames start to line up with each other, you know that something significant has to happen that not only forces all of them to bottom around the same time, but at that point, then we have a reversal where we can start to move upward. So it's most likely all driven by the same catalyst. So you can kind of use multiple stocks to, it's almost like a confirmation bias that we have what we're looking for, and confirmation bias is obviously something we need to be careful of. Basically, I'm trying to find anything that confirms what I'm thinking, as opposed to finding what the raw information is actually telling me. But that's kind of what's happening here when I see all of these symbols saying, hey, we have to be done trading by a certain point in time. Looking for the TSM bottoms, we have to go at least below 134.25. Beyond that, our next level is 127, then 122, even as low as 115. So TSM, when it was doing its wave 3, it actually dropped pretty hard and much farther than some of our other stocks had been dropping. So that's why this is the first time I actually mentioned 138% is totally possible. I'm going to drag in my chart. So trying to find the wave 4 top. Those are our levels at the top. I highlighted the zone that I like. That kind of floats around that 170. We are time constrained when we're looking for that bottom, 127.5 hours. And then if we drop from our top of 170 down to that minimum 134, that's a 21% drop already. So at the very least, if we hit our target top, we're looking at another 20% drop. Now, once again, this is another semiconductor stock that's looking to drop a minimum of 20%. So whatever is about to happen, if it does happen, and all of these waves are correct, something might hit the semis harder than most other industries and sectors. So that'll be interesting to see what that is. The next drop, if we hit the 114%, we're looking at a 25% drop from top to bottom. And if we go over to 123%, that would be almost a 28% drop from top to bottom. All right, our final stock, we're going to go back to the banking sector, and we're going to get Wells Fargo. All right, Wells has been traveling with the market and with the index pretty well. It topped slightly early in February 6th, when everybody else kind of topped around that February 19th. Wave 1 was longer than wave 3, so wave 3 was 56 bars long. It's going to come out to an even 104 half hours. So looking at wave 4, trying to find that top. Wave 4, this is actually interesting. The wave 4 top could possibly be in. We have a beautiful 5-wave structure so far in wave 4, and actually in wave 4C. 1 and 2 are quite distinguishable. We have our wave 3 signal here, right where I planted wave 3. That drop thereafter could be your wave 4. Now, the top that I have right now, this is the first one I've actually marked as wave 4. I'm sorry, as primary wave 4, meaning that minor wave 5, which would be a yellow 5 if it was here, could already be done. And this also happens to fall in line with where we had agreement on 2 of the tracks. So this is our wave C extension and on our wave 3 extension. That's why the top could be in. So if the top is already in here, we are constricted to 104 trading bars. This one would actually be ahead of the market. So if it topped on the open on Monday, so let's move our item back here. That would mean the bottom has to happen by Thursday, May 8th. So that's interesting. If this is true, this is going to be kind of like the leader when all the stocks start moving. Assuming that we don't reach another high, this is saying that we might have our bottom event as early as next Thursday. That still gives us one rocky week to drop if this is our lead indicator. Now, what's also possible here is wave 5 is our extension wave. We are currently in it, and we're only at the wave 3 part of that. And we can go up a little bit more. If we do go up a little bit more, maybe we get to 71, maybe 71 and a half. That's about up here. And then that would slide our 104 clock back more toward sometime early on Wednesday. So we'll continue to monitor this stock. It could be done. In that case, we'll continue to move downward, or it can keep going up. Basically, I'd say confirmation that we are done with wave 4 up is if we were to break below this minor wave 4 here. That low was at 67.5. So if we drop below 67.5 before we go above the current high of 70.56, then we are possibly we are most likely on our way down at that point. Now bring our chart back in here. For this one, my target that I called out initially was 71.5. That's still possible. Like I said, if we do go up above that 70.56, I would look at targeting around 71.5. After that, we are time constricted to 104 half hours, putting that top possibly on 30 April. At that point, we then must drop below wave 3. Wave 3 started at 58.42. That would be an 18% drop from top to bottom. Our next possible level is 114%. That's down here at 55.94, and then a level after that is 54.41. So I am targeting that 123%. That would be a drop from top to bottom of 24%. So that is all for my series tonight. If you missed any of the parts, feel free to go back and look for them. They should all be linked part of the playlist here on YouTube. And thank you for watching. I will continue to